Hi, my name is Crispina French, and promoting creative textile reuse is my jam. I'm an OG textile alchemist, worked my way through art school making ragamuffins from thrift store sweaters way back in the 1980s. That college side hustle grew into a full-fledged business, and here I am today to show you how to do it too. Stick around for all the things helping to navigate both the chaotic and dreamy chapters of building your profitable textile upcycling business. We'll talk material sourcing, business savvy, product development, marketing, and self-care. Gloss over the hard parts? Not here. Experience, lessons, and know-how. Deep dive into the struggles, wins, and rewards of running your sustainable textile upcycling business. Think of this as your favorite craft class mixed with environmental business school. Are you ready to be inspired, energized, and supported? This is the Rags to Riches Textile Upcycling Podcast. Are you a textile-centric crafter who loves vintage yardage, unusual fabrics, notions, and sewing tools and tutorials? Maybe you're a sewing teacher in need of cool and inexpensive cloth for students. Whether sewing high-end bespoke couture or experimenting with new textile making processes, swansonsfabrics.com, located in the heart of Turners Falls, Massachusetts, has just what you need. You can shop online or at the very well-organized and jam-packed store. Swanson's Fabrics is a thrift shop of fabric, notions, and textile tools. It's a community repurposing the leftover collections of home sewers, addressing the reality that we have enough fabric and craft supplies for generations, stored right in our very own attics and closets. Swanson's makes it very easy to pass on an excessive fabric stash and find inspirational treasure for sewing projects. Additionally, Katherine Swanson hosts an online group for entrepreneurs interested in using her business model for fabric thrift stores in their communities. Find Swanson Fabrics at swansonfabrics.com and on TikTok and Instagram. Hey, textile alchemist. Let's talk about the creative upcycling movement that we are all a part of, shall we? I want to start by acknowledging that it is pretty dang awesome that together we have created a highly visible, super creative, fresh way of using, or actually reusing, used clothing, manufacturer's waste, and other fabrics diverted from the landfill that spans pretty much all product categories. Here are a few of my favorites. Sustainable fashion. Starting with the mushrooming thrift and vintage clothing markets, which are on track to triple in volume by the year 2029. Triple in volume, you guys. Oh my gosh, how cool. Here's a fun fact. The secondhand fashion market is expected to be more than double the size of fast fashion by the year 2030, according to thefashionlaw.com. Triple, and then double the size of fast fashion. Oh my gosh, you guys, we are making strides in the world. We are making global shift happen. You and me together. Not surprising, as sustainable fashion stretches far beyond the simple reuse of discarded clothing, with a growing number of brands developing high fashion, streetwear, activewear, and formal attire, spanning all age categories, from newborn, kids, juniors, and gender neutral to women's and menswear. This is so exciting. I cannot believe the changes I have seen in my lifetime in textile upcycling. And that's not all. Let's dive into the home decor segment of textile-centric production with upcycled home textiles. Brands focused on creative reuse are producing alternatives to the status quo in categories including window treatments, rugs and carpeting, blankets, bedding, wall coverings, and decorative accessories. And while we are talking about home products, more industrial components like insulation and even bricks are being manufactured with textile waste as the main ingredient. I'm not even kidding, bricks, right? You guys, like made out of all that super crappy, like synthetic crap that is not really worthy of being thrifted or worn as vintage. Even the challenge of finding outdoor gear from textile waste is being addressed with creative ingenuity. And as a matter of fact, outdoor gear as a category has been infiltrated with creative textile reuse. Backpacks, reworked outerwear from puffer jackets to ski pants to running shoes and wetsuits. And even tents are being manufactured using textile waste without compromising durability or function. This is all such good news for tons of reasons, starting with the fact that the textile industry is the second most polluting category of business on planet Earth. Only the oil and gas industry creates more pollution and waste, which is sort of confusing because 65% of the fabric being produced today is synthetic. And synthetic fabrics are actually petroleum products and therefore part of that oil and gas industry. Can you say corporate bad guy? That is a rabbit hole for a different day. So let me just back up a minute. Back in the 1980s, when my textile upcycling journey began, upcycling wasn't even a word, you guys. Nobody had blue bins on the curb for pickup. The word recycling was not a common household word. People often thought the idea of making from used materials was just a little gross. I was often asked in a whisper if my makes were clean, as though maybe they weren't. Honestly, at first, I kept the source of my materials kind of under my hat for the most part. And there was really no one else producing handmade, recycled wares at a similar scale to my production company for at least the first 10 years I was in business. This meant that all aspects of running an upcycling business that are intrinsically different than producing with new materials were really up to me to figure out. Mentors who helped me along the way were perplexed and usually kind of doubtful that my business model with a focused commitment to reuse could even be profitable and therefore truly sustainable. Let me just tell you, newsflash, they were wrong. So fast forward. Here we are, 35 years after fledging my textile upcycling business. And there is this magical uproar, you guys, in our space. Can you hear it? It's so flipping cool. Especially when I think back to running my production company and dreaming of a posse who understood the intricacies inherent in producing with textile waste. You guys, I think my dream has come true. Today, new businesses hang shingles out every day, boasting environmental awareness and creative commitment to upcycling. Maybe you're a textile upcycling entrepreneur or a hobbyist or industry professional. I'm willing to bet that you just might be. I mean, based on the fact that you are here listening to Rags to Riches podcast, the chances are pretty good that there's an interest in textile upcycling and the benefits inherent in the process. Right up your alley, am I right? Raise your hand if you fall into one of these categories. You are a textile upcycling rock star at the top of the charts, stoked about your business that is exploding. It all kind of launched itself when you started sharing your makes on social media. You are working hard, loving it, and riding the wave of fresh and exciting success. Wahoo! Somebody's got to pinch you to make sure you know it's all real. Every once in a while, you kind of step back, scratch your head, and you kind of wonder, am I doing this money part right? Do I have all my ducks in a row? You would like to understand alternatives for the bottlenecks you are navigating, but you're not sure where to look or even who to ask. You might be feeling a little isolated in your non-traditional business model and have a hankering to bounce ideas around with an experienced entrepreneurs who share your passion. If you're not in that category, maybe you are rocking steady, making a decent living with your textile upcycling biz, which is awesome. You might have been at it for a few years or even a couple of decades, and you love the treasure hunt, having a flexible schedule and a creative job. You love the heartfelt satisfaction of making things that people love and will purchase quickly. The thing is this: you have arrived at a point in your life, in your business, where you really have to buckle down and make more money. You want a retirement savings account and organic food in your fridge. And being honest, right now, it's really one or the other. And honestly, sometimes it's neither. You are really ready to figure out how to make textile upcycling serve you better. Now, the third category are people who are inspired, creative, and just a little envious. You loved your high school art class and were persuaded to pursue other, maybe more reliable interests. Making with your hands has always really rocked your world. You are particularly drawn to textile upcycling for the thrift store treasure hunt, the creative flexibility, and environmental focus. Friends and family love what you make, and they've been encouraging you to sell it for quite a while. You haven't given up the dream to support yourself upcycling textiles as a business, but the financial stability at your day job is just so hard to think about walking away from. Now, you might be in the last category that I kind of assume you guys are falling into, and that is people who just love the outdoors. You love nature and animals and kids, and you're passionate about doing whatever you can to protect and preserve our natural environment. You've heard that textile waste is a global crisis, and you are willing to commit to supporting textile upcycling businesses that offer product you love, share your values, and are making a positive impact. So are you guys raising your hand? I think that if you are passionate about addressing global textile waste with reuse, recycling, and or upcycling textiles, we want to know about it. And we have put together a super fun and easy way to make that possible. I'm going to tell you all about how that works right after this quick break. Today's episode of Rags to Riches podcast is brought to you by the Stitcherhood Recycling Society, my online membership community for creative textile upcycling, recycling, and reuse entrepreneurs. Inspiration, shared experience, tutorials, business savvy, and connection to a whole posse of people who understand the passion and intricacies of running an environmentally kind, creative textile upcycling biz. Daily posts, weekly stitch hours, book recommendations, group chats, member profiles, and strong connections is what you can expect when you join Stitcherhood. Head on over to stitcherhood.crispina.eco and sign up for a free 7-day trial to see if my Stitcherhood Recycling Society is a good fit for you and your textile upcycling business. Hey, we're back. My name is Crispina French, and I am your host for the Rags to Riches Textile Upcycling podcast. Some of my favorite super cool things that are really special about the act of using textile waste as a creative material are textile upcycling gives each individual person the power to make and inspire ripples of cultural change by simply paying attention to the textiles you use, reuse, and upcycle. Textile upcycling is accessible to all. No expensive tools or equipment investment needed to get started. It is actually possible to start a textile upcycling business with an investment of as little as $100. Textile upcycling is the gateway into a conscientious lifestyle where purchasing choices are made for the good of the environment rather than the lowest price. And textile upcycling is inherently creative, where problem solving and reconstruction are intrinsic, resulting in reduced stress and anxiety and increased confidence and self-worth. The benefits of textile upcycling go on, but I digress. Before the break, I mentioned an easy way to help share your participation in our textile upcycling evolution. Are you ready? Here's the thing. It is going to take about 10 minutes of your time. I think you will find it a very worthy investment because my team and I know that your insights and experience are bloody important. Sorry, I'm just impersonating my Irish father and school teacher who a lot of people impersonated when I was growing up. So here's the skinny. We are conducting a really important survey, which will be so much more valuable with your participation. And here's why. We are preparing for the second annual Rags to Riches Summit, which will be free this year, you guys. And we want to create the most inspiring, engaging, and valuable experience we can for you. This mission of Rags to Riches 2023 is threefold. First, we want to bring together the textile upcycling community to inspire support and creative thinking. 2, we want to build and grow healthy textile upcycling businesses. 3, we want to validate textile upcycling entrepreneurs with professional connections and bottleneck busting, addressing material sourcing and collection and processing, photo image creation and video production for online presentation, and platform choices, production flow, and time management. Before we confirm with presenters, refine our daily themes, and secure spots for the notable speakers we have on our list for the Rags to Riches Textile Upcycling Summit 2023, we want to hear from you. What are some of the biggest wins in your textile upcycling journey? Have you established a method for connecting with your perfect customers consistently? Maybe you have garnered press features about your cool business and the ways you are bringing positive impact to your community and the world. Is your work feeding your soul as you sell everything you make just as fast as you can produce it? How awesome is that? Maybe you realize a little more each day that your makes bring joy to you and your customers while addressing our textile waste dilemma. How about your challenges and struggles? Is material sourcing taking all of your time and not getting you the quality or the look that you are after? Is it difficult to sell your makes at a pace that supports you? Maybe you have piles of awesome, ready-to-ship product that need to develop a more successful method for selling. Do you have trouble keeping up with demand? A good problem to have, yet a problem nonetheless. Where's your bottleneck? Are you looking for skilled labor? Maybe there's just not enough hours in the day. Maybe you're working your butt off, making piles of super cool product, selling it as fast as it is made, and just not banking enough money to save or take that trip you've been dreaming up. If you were like I was when building my production business, you know it is time to hire help. But where do you find the right reliable labor that is a good match for your company culture? And what about compliance? How does that work? Whether you are seeking sources for consistent material collection, connections for financing opportunities, introductions for business partnerships, new sales opportunities, brand building exposure, experience for solving production snafus, or a community for support and momentum building, solutions are plentiful. You are important, an integral part of the wheel rolling toward global balance, and we need to hear from you. A link to the Textile Upcyclers survey is in our show notes for this episode. Rags to Riches is in the business of making textile upcycling business a little easier, more satisfying, and more mainstream. Your data helps us develop content and tools to help us reduce textile waste and have fun supporting each other while making good money. Can you help us get 1,000 responses to our survey? Each person who takes the survey and chooses to leave their name and email gets entered in a drawing to win a VIP Success Kit package to the next Rags to Riches Summit. This year, 2023, the value of that prize is $497. And referral to the survey gets your name in the hat again. So every time you refer someone to the survey, they fill it out and put your name in there, you get entered in the drawing. So with your help, we can compile data to build even more exciting momentum in this already charged segment of commerce, the textile upcycling industry. Honestly, I wasn't sure we would ever get to this place where the general populace supports reuse, celebrates the individuality of each make and maker, and respects the handmade aspect of every piece of clothing manufactured. It is so encouraging and, I dare say, a bit magical to be here with you today, looking forward to getting your survey response, sharing what is most important to your textile upcycling journey. Visit www.ragstorichestextileupcyclingpodcast.com for a link to the survey. And if you like what you heard here today, please be sure to review Rags to Riches Textile Upcycling Podcast on Apple Podcasts, share, subscribe, and of course, upcycle. Hey, so I'm over here and I'm serving you a giant air hug because you just finished another episode of the Rags to Riches Textile Upcycling Podcast. Thank you for being with me. Our music is provided by The Lucky Five. Learn more about them at thelucky5.com. Our show is produced and edited by Vandal Hyacinth. If you want to dive in deep, head over to Rags to Riches Textile Upcycling Podcast.com.